Shout out to G-Man Boxing. Where's the piss bottle? It's over there.
Alright, people. Review of the week time. Going up a bit early this week. Normally record it on a Sunday, upload it on a Monday, but I'm going to put this up Sunday evening. As I said, a bit early. Have my reasons why. I want to get... Today has been a bit of a nightmare day just for getting time. Well, actually, I had time, but I just didn't... Just things didn't fall into place, and I want to get a video out each day for the next few days anyway. So I said I'd do it, and I'm sticking to my guns. It's going out today. I've got stuff planned for tomorrow as well. I've got a live on tomorrow as well, so we'll have that to look forward to. But let's talk boxing. Let's talk about the week in boxing. And obviously, going into last week, my plan for today was not just to record a review of the week, but it was to do a live stream about Shields Marshall and how that fight went. But obviously, we're not having that fight. We didn't have it this weekend. Look, I'll try and keep it just boxing, but I don't agree with the decision to cancel the show. I really don't. I don't see the logic behind it. I don't see why a minute's silence wouldn't have been justified. I think that would have been perfectly adequate. Yeah, look, I was looking forward to, obviously, that. I was actually looking forward to Bam Gardner versus Meyer as well. The rest of the fights on the card weren't amazing. I mean, it was mainly going to be prospects knocking over journeymen, but the top of the bill, I was really interested in. Now, it's been moved. It's been moved to October 15th, which to me, you know something, right? I think that this card won't do as well as it would have done had it happened yesterday. And I'll tell you why. Kambosos Haney is that evening, as well as that Wilder versus Hellenius is that, night, is that night as well. The week before, we have Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. in the O2. And I just feel that fight right now, this weekend, is a good time to have that card going. It was a great time to have it going because there's not really anything on the horizon that's major. And I just see that card being put on in a bad time. Where there's fights on before, obviously the week before and after, that is going to take a lot of the limelight away from it. I really do see that happening. And some would argue the fact that maybe... And look, I'm not in Ben Shalom's team. I don't know with regards what some of the fighters said with regards time frame, if the O2 was booked for dates in December, November. But I probably would have tried to get it done in December, because you got to factor in that the fighters will still have to make weight. Like Savannah Marshall is very big at the weight, as is Michaela Meyer. It's not easy to, bring that, especially given the fact they were in fight week, and I believe that they weigh in behind closed doors. They were about to weigh in, so bear in mind they are essentially, their bodies are at weigh-in point. So it's going to be very difficult for them to rehydrate that all back and then incrementally take it off again. That could have a dire... That could potentially impact these fights. Like, I was thinking Elisa Van Gardner would win, but I thought Michaela Meyer would be game, and maybe they'd give her the questionable nod, but I favoured Bam Gardner. Now the fact that she's having to put the weight back on and cut it again in a short frame of time, I'm going Bam Gardner every day of the week. I think Bam Gardner stops her. Because I think that's going to absolutely... And again, I think that's going to have ramifications on Shields Marshall. I really do, because Clarissa Shields is not as big as... Savannah Marshall is big. She's very big at the weight. And I wonder, is that going to take it out of her, having to rehydrate it, having to dehydrate, rehydrate, and dehydrate again in a short space of time? And look, again, I'm not in Ben Shalom's team. I don't know what the issues were with contracts, dates, etc. But I probably would have done it in December. Saying that, if you run it in December or late November, you're hitting in with the World Cup. So, that is going to take precedent over everything. You wouldn't want to have a big boxing event in general on clashing in with like World Cup or, it's quarterfinals, semi-finals, especially if teams like, England or someone like that are in it. The eyes are going to be on that. They're not going to be, even to a lot of boxing fans, say England get to the the quarterfinals and lose on penalties. No, had to get that in there though. But let's say they did. I think the majority of people would be tuning into that rather than a Shields Marshall. Even rather that than probably a lot of fights. Like if you put Lee Wood versus Mauricio Lara, I think most people will be cheating. I want to watch England before that. So, look, it's not ideal. As I said, I don't agree with the decision to cancel it. I don't agree with the decision to cancel all sporting events, but we keep it boxing. But that's my thoughts on this. So, obviously, well, I was going to do a prediction video on it. I like doing prediction videos the week of the fight, so I'm not going to record one for the sake of it 5 weeks before a fight starts. So, we'll hold out on that one. In terms of the other big news that is coming, obviously, Frank Warren, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. So Warren gave an IFL interview on Thursday, and basically I talked about it in my video yesterday, saying that look, basically you have till now to sign it or else it's someone else. And I speculated that one of the reasons why maybe Team Fury are being difficult is to try and basically have a win-win, in a sense of if Joshua signs up for it, happy days, you're probably getting him at his least confident. You're probably getting him where he's at his weakest in terms of maybe not punch resistance vulnerability, but mental vulnerability. You probably you probably couldn't have got Anthony Joshua better in terms of giving me confidence to pick Tyson Fury than you do now. And if he doesn't take the fight, well, there is a stick you can hit him over the head with, because they will constantly be saying he ducked me, Joshua ducked me, he's scared. And it's not just Fury saying it that's going to have an impact on Joshua. If they can make it look and word it in such a way, to the public where it makes it look like, oh, Joshua did duck it, Joshua will get that back from his fans, and it's just gonna snowball. Now, Frank Warren issued a statement on TalkSport today saying that due to the passing of Liz, the talk won't resume until next week. He says, Tyson and I don't feel it's appropriate at this moment out of respect for the royal family. So they're waiting until next week before deciding what to do with regards to the Anthony Joshua situation. I'm guessing they didn't want to announce it, whatever, and it probably wouldn't make the headlines, because all I see, even in Ireland, which is really weird, I don't know why they're doing it here, but even in Ireland, they're putting it on TV every 2 seconds. So there's obviously that. Now, they're the two main ones we wanted to talk about. So in other news, because obviously there wasn't much on this weekend, alright, there wasn't much on. Now, I've already talked briefly about Billy Joe Saunders, talk about him now in a bit, but I want to talk about this interview Deontay Wilder gave with Fight Hype. The gift that keeps on giving is Deontay Wilder. Oh, let's quote Deontay Wilder here. He was asked, would he ever be friendly with Tyson Fury? Nah, never, because I know the truth behind that. I don't condone cheating something like that. I know that. No matter what people say. People say if he didn't have something in his gloves, why not? If he did have something in his gloves, why not go to the authorities? Why the F would I do that? I had the opportunity to put hands upon him and possibly try to kill him and get paid millions doing it. So Deontay Wilder basically reiterating that Tyson Fury cheated. Well, people were saying he cheated you see, this is how stupid a lot of these, and I'm going to use that word, are, right? When Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder the second time in the rematch, right? They had this stupid glovegate theory. And that's all it was. It was absolutely flipping stupid, right? Because they were showing pictures of Tyson Fury's glove being a little bit deformed, right? And here's the ironic thing. They were saying, he clearly cheated. It's clear. That's why Wilder was getting... They were using the glove from the first fight. He wore Paffin Sport in the second fight. He wore Everlast in the first fight. They were showing pictures of the Everlast glove saying, he clearly cheated. You can see it there in the glove. And it's like, mate, I don't even know where to begin with how just stupid that theory is. It's like he used an Everlast glove in the first fight made out of horsehair. And yes, Everlast MX gloves do deform. Go and look at Alexander Povetkin versus Michael Hunter. He used MX Everlast gloves in that fight, and look how deformed the gloves were. Go and look at, more so in America. I think in the UK, because I know in the UK they banned the Everlast MX gloves for a couple of years. I think they were banned for 2 or 3 years they were banned for. They don't tend to deform as much in the UK. I suspect the board probably have them have an extra layer of padding on them. But if you look at Everlast gloves in America, Russia, the Middle East, and pretty much anywhere else in the world, look how deformed they get. Why? Because they're made of horsehair primarily. And horsehair gloves will deform. You'll often see, like fighters now, and even in the 70s, when the gloves back then were purely made out of horsehair, they'd be walking the ring, they'd be doing that. They'd be trying to get it like that. And the reason they'd be trying to get it like that is they're trying to actually move the horsehair around in the glove. So essentially, because it'd be mainly those two knuckles you're hitting with, whether it's a hook or whether it's anything really, they want as little padding and as little horsehair on that as they can to get maximum impact on the opponent. You got to understand that that comes with a consequence. You're going to hurt your hand, but it's all about, because that's what boxers think. You know, boxing is not. They say it's a gentleman's sport, but it's not really. You know, I'm not. I love boxing. It's my sport. But it is so not a gentleman's sport. It's brutal. It's barbaric, and I know that. I'm not pretending that it's civil. It's not. But that's what goes on, and that's one of the things about horsehair gloves. You'd often see Mike Tyson. Now Mike Tyson used Everlast. They were foam gloves. But if you see him in the way to the ring, he'd be trying to actually break the foam down himself, because it just means that. And you see fighters do it all the time. They're trying to break the foam down or move the horsehair around in the gloves. So cutting a long story short, I'm talking about gloves here, but basically. Yeah, Tyson Fury, he's not letting go of the glove situation. And of course, what happened in the third fight then? Because the gloves were tested thoroughly, you didn't have any members of your team in cahoots with Tyson Fury, Deontay. So again, hanging on to this theory that Tyson Fury cheated and, you know, used gloves that had objects in them. Again, like, it's just so ridiculous. And again, if there was objects in Tyson's glove, I mean, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, they check everything thoroughly. And again, if he cheated in the first fight with the gloves, again, that was in Los Angeles. The California State Athletic Commission are just as good. They'll check everything thoroughly. And again, if members of your team, I think Jay Deese, his co-trainer, was inspecting the gloves with Tyson Fury in both fights, who he's still got in the team now. So what, is he in cahoots too? So why are you keeping it? It just, that whole Deontay Wilder glove situation, I get it. He's trying to explain away the reasons why he lost, but that one is just, like, it's so easy to debunk. Like, it's just so easy to debunk. I mean, they shot themselves in the foot when they brought out that absurd theory showing the videos. And it was clear they were using footage from the first fight, not the second fight, and they were accusing him of cheating in the flipping second fight. So it just, yeah, long-winded story, but I did see it. Again, he's not letting go of that. To him, he's not really mentioned the third fight, you know, probably because he did better in the third fight than he did in the second fight. He nearly had Fury out of there in the fourth round. But yeah, that rematch, if ever there was a cleaner fight for Tyson Fury, it was that. He just did what he wanted to do in there. He really did. In terms of Billy Joe Saunders, back in the gym, eyeing a return. I've already talked about that briefly in a video. But yes, Billy Joe Saunders, he's talking about it. So, you know, he's definitely talking about getting the return. He's looked way out of shape. Good Lord, he's looked way out of shape in the last few pictures I've seen of him. And again, I spoke about it in that video. I can't see him, like, I just can't see him taking any other fight other than Eubank. Because I think all he wants is just, give me that one last big payday, you know, ideally 7 figures, and I'm gone. You know, I can eat all the KFC and Nando's I want, I can drink all the beer I want, I can have as much how you doing as I want, and I can live. I can do what I want. Because I can't see him having the hunger to come and, you know, have a comeback fight against, you know, a Martin Murray type figure. Or is it Carrasas, that, is he Argentinian? That guy he fought on the Jake Paul or KSI undercard. I think that was the fight. I think that was it anyway. But I can't see him having the motivation to do that and to fight those guys. And to be honest with you, he'd probably struggle to get by them at this stage now, because he's been out of the ring for so long. He's not getting any younger. He's ballooned in weight. We've seen Billy Joe Saunders, when he fights to the level of his opponent, he tends to look absolutely terrible. Like, you remember when he fought Akabov, and he was out of the ring for a year. Yeah, about a year. He came down from like 200 pounds. And a lot of people, I thought he won the fight personally, but a lot of people actually felt, no, he lost the fight. Now, I felt that was harsh. I thought he won it. I did, to be fair. It was close, it was competitive, but Billy Joe won that fight, in my opinion. But he looked terrible at it. Ben Davison was training for that fight, funny enough, but I thought he looked terrible. And again, if he's fighting someone like a Eubank, especially if Eubank beats Conor Benn, I mean, for Team Eubank, for Sky and Team Eubank, they'd be delighted, with Billy Joe Saunders, because there's their worry, there's their pay-per-view fight ticked, there's their money fight for both guys ticked. It's a chance for Eubank to have redemption. There you go, ticked. I'd probably pick him at this stage, to be honest with you. Depends how he looks against Conor Benn, but it would tick all the boxes for Team Eubank, and Billy Joe would be happy. He'd get his payday. So Bob Arum has told reporters that he believes Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, he does not expect it to happen next. He believes AJ's team won't want it. They said they're talking to others, alternatives for Fury to face in the UK this year before he fights Usyk in the first 3 months of next year. Now, Bob Arum is saying he feels AJ's team won't take it. Now, look, I've said it once, I'll say it again, going back to AJ Fury. I would love as a fan to see this fight happen. I would. I'd love to see it. Obviously, as I've said before, I will say it again, I want to see Undisputed. And that would be a big worry for me. In general, even if Tyson Fury was fighting an Oliver Leon who was already beaten, I would just worry. Not that Tyson Fury wouldn't beat him, I'd pick him to beat him, but I'd be just worried that the heavyweight division is just so unpredictable that Undisputed is there, it's around the corner. Oh, you've just taken an L. It happened. It happened last year, with AJ Usyk. I said going into both fights, I said with AJ Usyk and with Fury Wilder, the trilogy fight, I said one of them's going to lose. Something was in the air. It was like one of them is going to lose, and just something was in the air, and one of them did lose. And it was I thought AJ would lose, to be fair, and he did. But that's heavyweight boxing. That's why I'd be always worried. Now, if I was in Team AJ, if AJ rang me up and said, "Gee, I want you as a manager," I would say, "Okay, I'm going to be 100% open, 100% honest with you. You shouldn't take this fight. You shouldn't take this fight. Because, Anthony, you have so much potential that you haven't tapped into. And going in there, when you are the way you are now, probably at your lowest mentally, confident-wise, you're probably at your lowest. Another L, that's it. That is it. What you need, what I seen in there against Usyk, you lost. He beat you. It was more competitive than the first fight. We can work with that. We've got a good, strong foundation to work with. Get over to America. Get trained with Robert Garcia. Get out of your comfort zone. We will get you fights, maybe against Novaline, maybe against someone thereafter, people who we expect you to beat, and you're going to beat them well. You're going to get a bit of confidence. By then, the Undisputed situation will hopefully be resolved. You might have a vacant title, and maybe we can be the 3-time champion you want to be. You might get a rematch with Usyk. I doubt it, but you might very well get it. You might get it later on down the line. But let's do it when you're in the right frame of mind mentally. Let's do it when we've had a chance to really improve what needs to be improved. Let's not do a Kell Brook, right? No disrespect to him, but let's actually look at the long game. Let's take the harder road, because lesson for life here to anyone watching: always take the harder road. Always do it, because it always ends up better. Always ends up better. Too many people take the contentment road. They're sitting you're sitting in the cave being like, I've got a bit of heat and I've got a beer in my hand. That's all right here. I'll take this. Yeah, but that gets very boring after a while. Take the longer road, leads to greener pastures. That's what I'd be saying to Anthony Joshua, and that's not me trying to be a motivational speaker. It's just me speaking from experience. Take the longer road, AJ. Go with Robert Garcia. Train with him. Out of the comfort zone. Few comeback fights. And see what the landscape of the heavyweight division is this time next year. That's what I would do. Again, if you want to get a big payday, probably take an L and sail off into the sunset, fight Fury. Fight him. But if you want to make the most of your ability, what you still have left, because I think AJ is 32, 33 now, so you got to figure that the time is ticking. The time's running out. The sand in the hourglass is coming to an end. Do it now. Make hay while you have time. And let's make the most out of something. That's what I do. If I was managing him hand on my heart, that's what I'd say. Whether he likes it or not, I really don't care. I'm not trying to make friends with him. I'm trying to do what's best for his career. And that's what I think he should do, in my opinion. Now, Bob Arum has told reporters that he expects Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall. The rematch is actually going to take place now in January. It seems like it's getting drawn out quite a bit, doesn't it? So at first it was what? October, then it was November, now December, now January. It seems like they're just drawing that out constantly. And in a way, the longer they leave it, the more it favours Jack Catterall. Because as I said, that was the worst I ever seen Josh Taylor in the ring. I suspect the weight was part of it, but I suspect he overlooked Jack Catterall as well. But if he was struggling to make the weight as near as makes no difference a year ago, well, it's not going to get any easier a year later. You know, so I'd imagine that Josh Taylor, the longer it goes, the more it favours Jack Catterall, to be, as far as I'm looking at it, because the weight's going to, even if we get a sharper Josh Taylor, that weight is still going to be an issue, you know, unless maybe he just, you see, who someone told me once, I can't remember who it was, God almighty, I've forgotten now, but I heard, who was the fighter? It was a fighter who basically always stayed just 10 pounds over his weigh-in weight all year round. So weight cutting was never an issue. With Josh Taylor, Josh Taylor's never ballooned up to, like, you know, Billy Joe Saunders level or someone like that. But it's not going to get any easier, put it like that. So I think Jack Catterall deserves a rematch, but the longer this goes, the more it's favouring him, in my opinion. The IBF have ordered Sonny Edwards to defend his title against Felix Alvarado next. It's a good fight. So it looks like his unification with Julio Cesar Martinez won't happen next. I would have rather seen the unification. I'd give Sonny Edwards a very, 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 very good chance in that fight. Very good chance. I really would. Chris Eubank Jr. to Conor Benn. I usually go 8 weeks without sex. I abstain for 8 weeks. I'm going to abstain for 2 weeks for you. Canelo, Golovkin, they get 8 weeks. Billy Joe Saunders gets 4, but Conor Benn gets 2. That's good. That's actually a funny little trash talk there from you. But that's basically him insinuating that he sees Conor Benn as absolutely no threat. Essentially, he's saying that I'd be at my most disciplined for Canelo and Golovkin, because I'd need to be. For Billy Joe Saunders, yeah, I'd need to be disciplined. I'd need to, you know, abstain from this, that and the other for a bit longer. But for you, 2 weeks and I'm laughing. Because that obviously, look, the closer we get it, the more I kind of look forward to it. But let's not beat around the bush. I can't see Conor Benn winning this fight. I can't see it. I'd be very surprised if he did. You know, people spoke about this before, the punching power of Conor Benn. I mean, his punching power seems okay, it does, but, like, are you telling me Conor Benn hits harder than George Groves? You know, I'd like to know what you're smoking if you do think that, because it's got to be some strong stuff, and I don't smoke, but I might try and inhale some of the fumes. Because Conor Benn definitely don't hit as hard as George Groves. And yeah, George Groves buzzed Eubank a couple of times and he dropped him with a jab in the second round. It wasn't called a knockdown, but it was a knockdown. His knee touched. Still, I think that if you take that power and keep going, yeah, Conor Benn ain't going to bother you. He ain't going to bother you. So, that's what I think on that. Obviously, I'm going to end that now. I think we've just gone over the 20-minute mark. I hope we have. Anyway, always goal is to get review of the week about 20 plus minutes or so. So hopefully this goes out. Might even premiere it if it goes up before 10. So that's that for this week. Obviously, I've got a live stream tomorrow, which we'll do in the evening. About 8 o'clock tomorrow. Ooh. We'll do a live stream tomorrow at some point. About 8 o'clock or so tomorrow evening. 7, 8. No, not 7. But between 7:30 and 8, we'll do a live tomorrow. We have a live stream planned for Tuesday as well. I'll have a guest on with that one. Obviously, I've got a Canelo Triple G prediction, midweek report. So we got a lot coming up over the next few days, an awful lot. So I might get Thursday off if there's no news, which there always is, which is why and I have to do Crime Channel as well, because I'm nearly at 1,000 subs on that, so I've got a lot planned for that as well. So stick around, midweek we'll have a video on that as well. So I'm a busy G. You know, I'm a very busy man. You know, in and outside of YouTube, there's always something going on with your boy. But I like it, and still good. So people, I'll leave it with that. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Smash the like button. I hope everyone has a great week up and coming. I hope for someone the phone rings with good news. I hope someone has a great week. I really do. And I hope you all enjoy it. Smash the like button. We're less than 900 subs away from 10k. Come on, lads. We can do this by the end of the year. Easy, easy work. 10k. Easy does it. We'll get there. For now, lads and lassies, I hope you enjoyed it. Smash the like button if you could. I really appreciate that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. For now, I'll talk to you. Peace, lads.